following program is sponsored by Michael W. Smith. The views expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Phoenix, Arizona, this is Brother Mike. Yes, back on the radio. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. God bless you today. Today's Bible study, the return of the hidden Imam. Hey, will you call somebody and tell them the radio program's on? This is a very interesting radio program today. Did you know that the Muslims have the same belief that we do about the return of Christ? The details are different, but believe it or not, they have a tribulation and the return of Christ and the return of the hidden Imam, similar to what we do. I'll make a couple of announcements while you make the call to tell somebody, hey, this is going to be a wild one today. And this is Brother Mike. I'm the professional counselor at the Arizona Deliverance Center. We're downtown on 15th Avenue, just south of Osborne Road. The website is hardcorechristianity.com. We have two services every week, 7 p.m. Thursdays, 7 p.m. Fridays. Preaching, teaching, healing, and deliverance at both services. Both services are broadcast on our teaching channel, youtube.com/House of Healing AZ. On the website, you can send us another donation. Thanks to all the support you're giving us. KXXT Christian Radio. Love you guys. DarkSkyRadio.com. Tremendous partners now. Over 100,000 people a week listen to the radio broadcast. I'm so grateful for it. Thank you for tuning in. On the website, you can sign up for our next free seminar. The last one was booming. Excuse me. The End of All Things is at Hand was the name of the seminar. People loved it. Don't forget about the donation button on the website. PayPal, you can also download our donation app off the website too. Tithely, we thank you for all your support and all your help. The return of the hidden Imam. This you're not going to believe. As you know, there's two main forms of Islam. There's the Shia Muslims and there's the Sunni Muslims. Of course, there's other forms of Islam too. For example, one of them is the Uyghurs. They are located in China, and China has cracked down on them. Communist China is an atheistic, godless, evil empire. And they hate Christians, they hate Muslims, they hate all forms of religion. And they actually put these people in concentration camps. There's tremendous persecution against Christianity and Islam in China. Joe Biden once said, hey, folks, China, they're not bad folks. Let me tell you something. Joe Biden is brain dead. China is an evil, wicked, communist empire. And they hate our guts. And if you don't understand that, you are completely deceived. Among Shia Muslims, they have a doctrine called the hidden Imam. They call it the 12th Imam. And this Imam, who is in a spiritual state at this time, is a descendant of the Prophet Muhammad through his cousin Ali and through his daughter Fatima. The 12th Imam did not die but went into a spiritual condition or spiritual form called occultation. And he's currently alive in the spirit world. But at the end of time, they teach he will return to earth. He's called the Mahdi. The Mahdi will return to earth and restore righteousness, justice, and equity on the earth. They teach that he will return for a period of 19 years before the day of judgment. And that's easy to see how that's similar to Christianity. And of course, Islam came after Christianity. And the Muslims studied Christianity first, so they just simply adopted some of Christian doctrines. We have the return of Christ. We have the 7-year period of tribulation, we have the 1,000-year reign of peace, and then after that we have the great white throne judgment in Christianity. But they modified it and said that the return of the Messiah, they call him the Mahdi, will have a period of judgment and rule for 19 years as he prepares the planet Earth for the day of judgment from Allah. Instead of 7 years, it's 19 years. They believe that the Mahdi will arrive with Jesus. Jesus and the hidden Imam will come back together, and according to the Shiite, they will defeat al-Masih ad-Dajjal. Al-Masih ad-Dajjal is their version of the false Messiah or the Antichrist. So at some period of time in the future, Shia Muslims believe that the Antichrist, or an Antichrist-like figure, is going to take over the world. And when Jesus comes back, he will break all the Christian crosses in the world, because Jesus is not the Son of God according to the Muslims. He did not die on the cross. He went into a spiritual state of occultation. And God, Allah, is not a father, and he has no son. So according to them, when Jesus comes back with the hidden Imam, the two of them will take over the planet Earth for 19 years, preparing it for the day of judgment for Allah. This is the doctrine they teach. And you can see it's kind of similar, sort of, to the doctrine taught in the Old Testament and the New Testament of the Holy Bible. Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran said that the position of the ruler of the state of Iran should be filled by the most learned jurist in Islam, because that person is the Imam's representative on the planet Earth. Now here you see them taking a position similar to information they got out of Roman Catholicism. They have a pope. So they're equating the ruler of Iran, in a way, with the pope as the jurist that will represent God on earth until the new Messiah or the hidden Imam returns. And according to their teaching, in fact, the Deputy Minister of Culture and Islamic Guidance was interviewed here recently, and he said several interesting things. Number one, the Imam, the hidden Imam, will return to earth someday with Jesus, and he will restore righteousness and justice and truth on the earth. And that when he comes back, you will be able to travel to other planets. There will be interplanetary, intergalaxy travel when the hidden Imam and Jesus return to earth. In Islam, Jesus' name is Isa. His name is Isa. And the deputy minister also said that man has never left the planet Earth and the moon landing was faked. The moon landing was faked. Well, he might have a little evidence on that. That sure does look like that moon landing was faked. I'm not sure it was, but boy, it looks very questionable. Richard Nixon called the moon and talked to the astronauts on a touch-tone phone at his office in the White House. Touch-tone phones were pretty good back then. My phone supposedly is superior to the computer they used to go to the moon. And I dropped a call to my sister last week. She lives in Kansas. According to their teaching, when the hidden Imam returns, all diseases will be eradicated off the face of the earth, and people will be able to communicate with jinns, Jinn, jinns. What is a jinn? That's the Christian version of demons. And Muslims teach that there are God-fearing jinns and there are God-hating jinns. The God-hating ones are the ones that are tormenting Muslims on the earth, and those are the ones the Muslims try to cast out through a special demonic ceremony. But according to their teaching, the hidden imam will take over all the regimes on the earth, and justice will prevail. We will be able to travel to other planets. There will be no more disease. And he will rule the planet along with Jesus until the great judgment day of Allah, which lasts 19 years. 19 years. That's, I guess, equivalent of our 7-year tribulation that Daniel and the book of Revelation talks about. Now, Shia Muslims are different than Sunni Muslims. Sunni Muslims, many of them believe that the Mahdi does not exist. He's a separate figure. And Jesus, Isa, is the person that will do the work of the Messiah or the hidden imam. It's actually Isa or Jesus. They look at it, Sunnis, that Mahdi is a title for Jesus. The Mahdi Isa, when Jesus returns. However, there are other Sunni Muslims that believe that the Mahdi is separate from Jesus, and he comes to the earth to reestablish righteousness on the face of the earth. Listen, friends, everything I just told you about the Muslim beliefs are false. They're not real. What I told you about the biblical beliefs and truths, they are 100% real. Listen, if you take a look at America, China sent us this virus to destroy us. It worked. It crashed our economy. It destroyed our school systems. It bankrupted 2/3 of the country. The Chinese are our enemies. The communists are godless, a godless and evil empire. It's almost over, friends. The tribulation, the rapture, and the second coming of Christ are only a few years away now. I believe the false prophet and the Antichrist are currently alive on the earth somewhere, and they will be rising to power in a few short years. Things are going to get very bad here in America, and believe it or not, for the first time, we're actually going to have persecution. You need to come for prayer, and you need to come to revitalize your Christian life. Do it now, 602-636-5800.
The views expressed on this program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program was sponsored by Michael W. Smith.